Now in this blog section, we want a list of blogs with their content, right? So how do we do that? That should come from this, our articles, right? Like if I make it like this, you can see that there's a list. Now I have to iterate through that list and display everything. Now, that's done by iterating through articles. You would already seen it. You can just use a for loop for the Jinja for loop, and then and iterate through the list. Now we are iterating through articles and getting an article. Now I can just print article title and article body. Let's see the column name. So it's title and content, right? So I can just do title. Actually, it will be articles title. So article title and then article content, right? Let me just go back here, refresh this. So it's coming, but they're all coming in one line, right? It's not great. So let's add some design. Let's say I want the whole thing to be within a div, just to cover this whole section. If I want to at some point give some style, I would want to keep it within a div, right? So I'll add a div just before an article starts. Actually, article doesn't start here, article starts here. So be a div, right? Inside the div we have a title and content. Let's say we want to make the title as H2, right? Header. Okay, now let's see how it looks. Okay, now we can see it's been iterating, and there is title of each of the article and then the content of the article. All right. Now, even now it doesn't have like a great design for content. I would rather want the content to be in another div, so at some point I can give it some design or a styling. So I would like to keep that inside one div. Okay, now we can at some point we can style this div, right? We can change the background, or we can add other style contents. Just going to format it a bit for easy reading, right? Okay, now after the title is displayed, I want to display the author of this article, right? Who has written this? Now in our case, author, if we go to our model, is an array of users. So it can be one or more. So we'll have to print at least one, or it could be more than one. So we have to iterate through the authors and then display it. So let's do that. It's easy to iterate through it. Let's do one. Okay, let's put the author names inside the p tag, right? Below it, let's say written by. So there can be more than one. So even that will be a for loop. So for loop will be article authors, like around article authors. So written by, looping through authors from article, and I'm getting author for each of those, right? And this will be end for. Okay, now you can print that. The author. So what is available for us? It will be username or email, right? Here, if if I check main.py, username is username and user ID is user ID and email is email. So let's take username and display it, right? So that is how this is displayed. Let's see. Okay, now it shows written by Thejesh and Raj and etc. But this is not good. We want it to be like little more readable. Make it like comma separated with space and stuff like that. So do little more formatting, right? And I'll also make it small characters. Make it this. Okay, that looks a little better. Now let's make it a comma separated. Now if I add a comma here, that should work, but there's a problem. Comma comes even at the end, even if there is one user, or even if there are two users, even at the last user there's a comma. I wanted rather it to be not to have anything, right? I want it to be Thejesh GN, comma, space, Raj. That's it, nothing else. So there is condition that you can check in for loop, that if it's not the last, and then you can use that to put the comma, right? Let's do that. We can do if not last, if not the last item, then we can put the comma, right? So if this is not the last item in the loop, then put a comma. Okay, now you can see that because this is the last item in the loop, it's not putting comma, otherwise it's putting comma. But there's like a space here, that's because there's a space here. So let's bring it to the same line, because it's putting a slash. Okay, now should be fine. There you go. Okay, let's put some more content to this article. I'm just going to copy paste some text so it looks better, right? I'm just going to go back to my article and then just put some content, right? Let's see how it looks. There you go. You can see that it stops at the main section of our blog listing and it doesn't go to the sidebar part. Let's add some more content to some other things just to make it little more useful content instead of dummy content, and give a title, also meaningful title. Okay, I've saved it. Let's come back here and see. Okay, so now you can see that there is some decent looking blog listing, right? Now we can also add space between these two, or by adding a breaking, or we can give like a buffer space around the layout and stuff like that. You can do many more things. I'm not just going to go there. I'm just going to leave at this because that's virtually like impossible to cover. You can play with this. I'm going to replace this header by actually writing our own header. Because it's all articles, I'm just going to put the same header there too in the Jumbotron. Right? That's correct. Now I want to add a feature where if I click this user name, I want to show the list of articles only by that user, right? It's like a interesting way to look at it. If you click like on Raj, it shows a list of articles by Raj. If you click on Thejesh GN, it should show the list of articles by Thejesh GN. So for that, we have to have some format where we can pass the user name to the articles listing and then filter it by that username, for which we'll write another model, right? We won't use the same model. Just to keep it simple, we'll add another model and we'll call it get articles by, username or author, right? And it takes username, and let's set up the path or routing. We can give whatever we want to, but I'll just give it articles by to make it meaningful. I mean, even though we can give anything, it's always useful to give some useful name or meaningful name, and it takes one parameter as part of its get called username, right? It takes username, and the same thing is passed here. Now we have to modify our articles query to filter by username. So it's actually quite straightforward again. So it's article query and then filter by author name if it has a username as username, if any of them, right? Give me all of them which has username as username being here is this, right? This is the column name and this is the variable. Actually, you can just, to make it clear for you, you can even make it like this, right? This. Okay, now we got all the filtered articles. You want to return to like a template. I'm going to create a separate template, though we could have used the same template. I'm going to create a separate template called author articles, right? Or articles by an author. So it's a separate template. So let's create this template. Okay. The content will be somewhat similar, so I'm going to copy it and paste the template. Let's see how it looks first. All right. Let's save this. Let's go back to main.py. Yes, it's been set up. Okay. Let's restart this. Okay. Now, if I go through /articles by Thejesh GN, it should show list of articles by Thejesh GN, right? So here it will be articles give a username Thejesh GN. So yeah, it's happening. It's you can see only articles by Thejesh GN, right? In the other one, there was also an article by Raj, right? There we have. Okay. Now we can also edit this little more and show, call it, author articles, right? Okay. Now in the main page, I want this to be clickable link and take it to that page. So we have to make it like an href, right? So that is done by going to this, making this author name as clickable link, right? I'm going to make it like a href. Right, and then link will look like, for example, Thejesh, right? So it will look like this. It's the same as our routing, but instead of this Thejesh, it will be the name of the specific author, right? I have to take it from a variable. This is the value actually. So I'm going to take this and paste it here. So it should actually give me articles by whichever is the username. Now if I refresh, okay, I should go to the main page. There you go. So now they've all become links. As you can see in the footer here, what is the URL? So Thejesh is Thejesh, Raj is Raj, etc., etc. So if I click on Raj, it will show only Raj's article. I mean, or either he is by independent or is a co-author, right? Or if I click on Thejesh, it shows the articles of Thejesh. Now, actually, I want to, when we are in this page, I want to show author articles and name of the author, or in this case, since we don't have a name, username of the article, username of the author. So we'll just do by simply passing the username, right, as part of our template variable passing. So user name is equal to user name, right? And then we'll use this username passed in our articles by author. Articles, author articles. Okay. Okay, that should work. There you go. Now you can also play around with sidebar and do many things. You can also linkify here, and or you can make it like a icon here which clicks back and you go back to the main page, etc., etc. But this should tell you how to use Flask-SQLAlchemy with Flask and develop a simple application. I've not done many other parts. You can write the post part where you can add an article, etc., etc. You can try that on your own. Now we have done this using local. Let's try and do the same thing on Replit, right? Just quickly, I'm not going to code the whole thing. I'm just going to copy paste, but I'm going to show it you how. So once you log into Replit, go to my REPL, right? Create a new REPL here using create REPL and choose Python, right? And give some name. I'm just going to go with the default name, right? And create REPL. Now it will create a REPL and open it. So here we need to add packages, right? It's called packages here. What we installed using requirements, we are going to do it using packages here. The first one is Flask. Right? I'm going to search for Flask and click on this plus to install it. It will take a while. It will install Flask. Okay, it's installed successfully. Now I'm going to paste Flask-SQLAlchemy, same as our requirements.txt if you had seen, right? Same this, right? And click on plus again, so it will install again. It will take a while because it has some dependencies to install. So we'll just wait for a couple of maybe a minute or two, and you can see the status of installation on the right side. Instead of pip and requirements.txt, it uses something called poetry. At this point you don't have to worry about it, but you should just know that it uses poetry and stuff like that on a very high level. Okay, now it's installed. Let me go back to our files. These are all the files. We have main.py, but we don't have other folders and files. So I'm just going to create a folder called templates, right, where we're going to put all our templates. And our first template was article. So I'm going to create, under template a new add file, articles. Okay, and then copy paste the same thing here. So I'm just copy pasting the same thing. It shouldn't matter, right? Like I told you, it's very straightforward. Add files. Then create another template. Called articles by author. Right. So now we have both templates. Now in the main, I'm going to copy paste the main. Here again, since I'm pulling it from OS, current directory, I think it will pick up the testdb.SQLite3 if it's present here. Since it's not present here, I'm just going to upload that whatever we had db, upload that here so that you can just use it. Just selecting the same db and opening it. So it'll take a second, but then it has uploaded. So now you can see that it has uploaded, and we are using the same thing. Since we are using the current directory and actually dynamically, it shouldn't matter. It should still use this testdb. Okay, I think now we are set. We can just try to run it, right? You can just click on run. Okay, there seems to be some network issue, so I'm just going to stop and start again. Just click on run. Okay, there you go. It has started. You can see the console here, what it's doing, and it automatically opens up the browser and shows here. Now you can also run it separately by copying it and running it in a separate window. There you go. It's running on REPL now. You can also click on the links. It takes you to the link section, etc., etc. You can do these things. So like I told you, straightforward. Just add the packages using packages part. This section. And the rest of them remain same. And when you are using local variables, try to make it dynamic as much as possible. Okay, this is an unused package, so no specific error, but you don't need to import if you're not using it. Okay, that's it actually. I think you learned how to use SQLAlchemy using a Flask extension called Flask-SQLAlchemy. And templates, and also be able to run on Replit using the same code without making any changes as such. Okay, thank you. Bye.